I mean, we watched A'ja Wilson and Jackie Young. They went off, had a great game in Game 5. They were the first pair of teammates in WNBA history to record 30 points in the same playoff game. Jackie Young became the first player in WNBA history to record 30 points, 10 assists, and 0 turnovers in a playoff game in the Aces Game 5 victory over the Fever to punch their ticket to the WNBA Finals. But our question, Martin Sories, is what is it about Ajax that makes them unique as a guard big duo?
What makes them unique is it's the two-way ability, and they both do so much as scorers, as athletes, as defenders. Right now, Jackie Young is playing like a top 5 player in the W, at the very least top 10. After this playoff run, she's going to be in both of our updated top
Absolutely.
10 player lists. I mean, that's for sure. Difference maker, absolutely. Man, Kelsey Plum out of Vegas. This is where Young can really shine as that second option. Wonderfully put, Jeremy. That's perfectly put, because that was one of the biggest reasons why I needed to see Jackie Young really take that leap this year, was because even though you have Jewell Loyd, who is a proven scorer, from a scoring and athletic standpoint, Jackie Young sticks out in that guard unit of her, Jewell, and Chelsea Gray. And it just felt like she needed to eventually step up and be, especially without Kelsey Plum, because I think Kelsey Plum was just a little bit more of a just bouncy scorer. Like would just get 20, like just for the fun of it, you know? And without her, and again, Jewell Loyd is a scorer, but the Jewell thing is interesting because the way she played down the stretch in that game the other night, like it's similar to what I said about Phoenix. Like, and then again, this series, we're about to talk about it, but both of these teams have former champions, former finals MVPs. Like, they're good. Like Jewell Loyd is a great basketball player. And she's really showing that even, I mean, and her big thing, like we were talking recently about, like, is she just a catch and shoot 3-point shooter now?
Yeah, it feels
And
like
she answered that in that in that deciding game against Indiana, crashing the boards, offensive rebound. She could have sealed the game at the end of regulation with that tip in. But she had some really big offensive rebounds, impacted the game. She wasn't shooting well throughout the game, but then she hit a couple big shots late. But she did other things competitively that helped them to win that game. So that's something they're really going to need in this series against Phoenix. But we're talking about Jackie and A'ja, but the way Jewell has had to adapt and adjust this year, we know that for most of the season we haven't really seen her. It hasn't been peak Jewell. And I don't know, Jackie is really stepping into her abilities as a shot maker, as a playmaker. And I said it, that clip we played was going back all the way to before the season, when I was just like, look, Asia's going to be Asia, but if this team is going to get back to winning a title, the way it's constructed, it feels like, and Chelsea Gray is going to be Chelsea Gray, right? They need someone else to be special, consistently special. And that's what Jackie Young has been really all season, but she's kicking, 30 points, 10 assists game in the playoffs, no turnovers, first player to ever do that. Like this is feeling like a Kobe Shaq vibe now, right? Like high level guard, high level big type of combination. So it's really cool to see.
I'm actually glad you said that, because I started to prepare to come on here and be like, you know what? A'ja and Jackie are the WNBA's version of Kobe and Shaq. But I was doing some thinking, and I really sat down. I was like, well, I don't want to just do Kobe and Shaq, because I feel like every time we see an elite guard and an elite big play together, we automatically go to Kobe and Shaq. And no disrespect to Kobe or Shaq, they're both great, one of the greatest. But I really sat down and I thought about it. I was like, when I think about A'ja Wilson, when I think about Jackie Young, who is that guard big duo? And I actually think that they remind me of a guard big duo that we never actually got to see share the floor together. And I feel like if we did see them share the floor together, this is what it will look like. That's Dwayne Wade and Tim Duncan. Like, that's what I feel like. If D Wade and Tim Duncan played on a team together, it would look like Jackie Young and A'ja Wilson. You start with A'ja Wilson. I mean, you are the one who said months, over a year ago, right? This team reminded you, as it was constructed previously when Kelsey Plum was there, of the San Antonio Spurs and their dynasty, right? And you compared A'ja Wilson to Tim Duncan, right? We talked about how Tim Duncan was just fundamentally sound. He's a great scorer, great rebounder, really good defender. He matched his position, and A'ja Wilson's the same thing. But then when I look at Jackie Young, obviously in the comparison to Dwayne Wade, Jackie Young isn't nearly, I would say, like at the level of slasher or finisher that Dwayne Wade was in his prime. But we've seen that, and we know that she can be that if she really wants to, right? I mean, you've talked about how with her strength and her side, like there's no reason why she should be settling for the shots that she takes sometimes, given how physically gifted she is and just her build. But not only just her slashing, like her ability to create for herself off the bounce, to create for others, her playmaking ability, she's clutch. Like we know, like she has the clutch gene. Like the two of them together, I just feel like if we got to see Dwayne Wade and Tim Duncan play basketball at the same time on the same team, it would be that, right? Obviously, there's differences. Again, A'ja Wilson has the three-point shot in her arsenal. Tim Duncan wasn't a three-point shooter in his career, right? A'ja Wilson, I would say probably, not probably. A'ja Wilson is a more versatile defender than Tim Duncan is. Like she can guard multiple positions. Not that Tim Duncan couldn't, but I think A'ja Wilson is certainly more gifted defensively as far as being able to guard multiple positions. Same thing you could say could be the case be made for Jackie Young. The one thing that drew me to Dwayne Wade for Jackie Young is I remember how a lot of times we talk about Dwayne Wade, it's always like, oh, like Dwayne Wade could have been an MVP several years, if not for this other person, right? Like, oh, like Dwayne Wade has potential to be, Dwayne Wade at times was the best defensive guard in the NBA. And you and I had a conversation about how, Jackie Young, top 10 talent. Jeremy said tonight, Jackie Young, top 5 player in the WNBA right now. Jackie Young, we've seen countless times. She's made multiple all-WNBA teams. She's made multiple all-defensive teams. Like she has at times been the best player on this team. And as we alluded to on the show last week and the week before that, Jackie Young at one point in time was in conversations with Kahleah Copper. And again, we love how this all just works together for this finals matchup as being one of the best, if not the best, two-way players in the WNBA. And we've seen that over this past playoff run. Last thing I'll say is when I made that carousel post on our Instagram page, that very last slide, what did it say? The Aces are going to win a championship this year because of Jackie Young and because of what she brings to the table. And so when I look at what A'ja Wilson is, and we know who A'ja Wilson is, I feel like unironically, the biggest quote unquote winner of the Kelsey Plum trade is Jackie Young, because we've got to see her still remain herself, but also fill in for Kelsey Plum and do things as the running mate for Chelsea Gray that we couldn't really see Kelsey Plum do. You and I talked about when Cassie was on the show, like, yo, bro, sometimes when Jackie Young gets going and she's active defensively, Chelsea Gray just kicks it up a notch and she's getting more active defensively. And we're seeing that over and over and over again. It's almost like even at the end of that game in overtime, Chelsea Gray, all of a sudden, she's hitting big shot after big shot after big shot in overtime to help us clinch that game. And again, just trying to I don't want to say keep up with, but almost in a way like keep up with what Jackie Young is doing. So, I mean, you talk about the two-way ability, and I think that's definitely that. But if we take what we're seeing from A'ja and Jackie, if we take what we're seeing from Ajax right now and compare that to like an NBA duo, they've never played together, I don't think. But if they've never played together, but if Dwayne Wade and Tim Duncan share the floor together, I think what we're seeing from A'ja and Jackie is what that would look like. Yeah. Fundamentally sound big, elite on both sides of the ball, and an elite two-way guard who can pass, who can drive, who can shoot, who can create, do all those things. They're both really good. They're both really, really good. And they're perfect fits for each other. Like, I don't think you could perfect fits for each other.
Yeah, that's really good. I know people sometimes don't like when you do like NBA comparisons and compare the women to the men and stuff, but we obviously here Protect Our Queens, we mean it in like the most endearing way, of course, and just as basketball fans. The Kobe Shaq analogy is problematic. A'ja more versatile, dominant than Shaq for one thing. That's true and a good point. A'ja is more versatile, but the thing about A'ja is that she has a level of dominance that I'm not going to say it's Shaq-like, because her dominance really comes in through her versatility as a shooter. Like, she's a dominant shooter, and that doesn't mean that she's hitting a ton of threes, but she does the things that, I always talk about with just her mid-range, her face up. Like, it's just, it just becomes automatic sometimes. But we know as an athlete, and her strength is a huge part of how she does what she does too. So she does exert, when you watch her, you see a dominant player. You don't see a finesse jump shooting player. You see a dominant force out there. So I think there's some merit to the Kobe Shaq thing from that standpoint, but I think that's a good point. I like the Wade Duncan kind of thing. I mean, comparing Jackie Young to Dwayne Wade, Asia to Tim Duncan, I think that's kind of cool. Boston's Paul and Kevin. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you have any, NBA comparisons for Jackie and Asia. Nash Stoudemire, I don't know if Jackie's on that kind of passing. That's decent. I like that. I mean, I don't know if Jackie's the kind of passer to call her a Steve
I don't think
Nash.
Jackie Young is
I don't know if she Chelsea Gray is more of a Steve Nash than a Jackie Young.
Yeah.
Right. When I made that Spurs analogy with the Aces, I compare Jackie to Kawhi. I think she's more on kind of a Kawhi trajectory in the sense that she's been a great athlete, but she is going to keep getting better as a scorer and offensively as more of a primary option. But I like the Dwayne Wade comparison from you because I do think, and to your point and to our point about Jackie Young needing to be the driver for Vegas if they're going to win this thing, especially against Phoenix in this matchup, bro. Jackie's going to have to even kick it up another notch, right? Where was I going with that?
It's a good question.
What was I just saying?
You were talking about why you like Dwayne Wade, the comparison.
Okay, yeah, because she needs to have a run like Wade's 06 run. She needs to have a run that so far, like we had already said, right now, so far the way Jackie Young has played through the playoffs, she's a top 10 player. Like she's back in the top 10. This is her top 10 form that she's playing in. Satou as well. Satou has made her way back in the top 10 based on how she's played, right? So we had said when we did our top 10 at the end of the regular season that this would happen, right? There's going to be fluctuation based on performances. Satou's back. Jackie Young is back. But this is a chance for Jackie Young to really show and prove who she is, to really show that she's one of the top guards in the league. If she makes this kind of run, which is what the Aces, again, what they need in this series, I think they're going to need Jackie to kick it up a notch against this kind of team. She needs to have a run like that 06 Wade run. That's what it needs to look like. That's what it needs to feel like. If we're talking stylistically, basketball wise, Jackie is coming off of the high ball screen a lot more. It feels like she's doing a lot more on the ball work coming off those screens than even Chelsea Gray lately. Right. Like it just feels now Jackie isn't like super crafty. She's not like slithery and like splitting the trap and like like she does athletic things and whatnot.
There's a finesse to D-Wade's game that you don't. There's a
little more of like absolutely, more of a downhill side to side like fluid motion. Like Jackie has some of that, but you brought it up, and it lets me know, thank you, that you actually do listen to me because Jackie's settling on her threes, but you noticed it too, right? Again, it's a complicated thing, especially for a former player and former shooter who has been told like you're settling sometimes because I'm taking a shot but it's like we know she can hit those shots, so it's not an indictment to say she's settling. It's just that to what also you said that I've said. She's too fast. She's too quick and strong to be able to get into the paint at will, to not be doing it all the time.
Yeah. And it causes matchup problems. Like we saw it in the series against the Fever. Like when she just puts her head down and she's downhill. I'm not saying Jackie Young's the most unstoppable downhill player in the WNBA, but again,
no, but I think she's more of a pace.
Of strength.
I think she's more of a pace. I think she's more pace in the half court when she's coming off those screens. I don't think it's more downhill for her. I think it's more of a pace thing because she likes to use her body, come off, see how you're guarding her, get into the, but again, I think she could be getting into even more of that. I think they could run it through her even more, but the balance of the guard, it's like I said in that clip, she is alleviating things for Chelsea Gray and Jewel Lloyd. She's even giving Jewel Lloyd the fact that Jewel Lloyd hasn't had to be more than what she is because of Jackie Young. Same thing for Chelsea Gray, honestly. Like that's how, that's how I look at it. Because Jewel can just pick her spots. She doesn't have to do too much. Jackie Young is the reason for that. She alleviates all of that, a lot of that for them as a guard. And they said during the Becky Hammon said during the broadcast, well, I think it was Ryan Rucco who said Becky told it to them that the aces go as their guards go. So it's not just me, Marcus.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
Yeah.
I always say I'm a guard guy. I'm always talking about the guards, but it's not. And Becky's a guard too, so maybe she has a little bias, but she is the best player in the world who's also a big, so she knows she can coach guards and bigs at a high level, clearly.
Absolutely. Let's switch gears now and talk a little bit about, unironically, the other side of this injury matchup, and that is Kahleah Copper. But before we do that, let's go back to after All-Star break when we had Cassie on the show the first time, and we were going through our bold predictions for the second half of the season. I think the Phoenix Mercury are gonna win the championship. I really do, bro. Like, and I know that, and the reason why I say that that's probably not a hot take for me is because at the beginning of the season, I said they were going to be one of the best 4 teams in the league. They've been that, right? They started off the season really well. Satou was an MVP candidate early on, just like she was the last time she was healthy. We still haven't really seen Kahleah Copper fully unleashed. Now you're adding DeWanna Bonner. I still think their supporting cast and their bench is, one of the best in the league outside of New York's. And I just really like what I'm seeing. And I'm looking forward to seeing this team fully healthy with Kyle, with Alyssa Thomas, with Satou, and of course with the DB and all they have around them. Martin has been saying for a couple weeks now that the Seattle Storm are a team to look out for, and they absolutely are. And I don't disagree with that. You obviously can't ignore the Lynx and the Liberty, right? Despite what ups and downs they've had this season, they are still the 2 best teams in the league. But the Phoenix Mercury are the number 3 seed in the league right now. They've got 15 or 16 wins or something like that. And I think they're going to get healthy and get hot at the right time. I think the Phoenix Mercury are going to be the 2025 WNBA champions.
Oh my.
Here's the unfortunate part about this series for me, right? Here's something else that we didn't talk about. And I haven't boasted about this one as much as I have the other takes, right? In the intro there, you see that I talked about how I thought that A'ja was going to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. She did that. All-Star break, I said Phoenix might win the champion, or Phoenix is going to win the championship. They're at least in the finals. Do you remember the other prediction I made? The other predictions I've made over the course of the season? Going back to the very first episode we did for the season, that same episode when I predicted
some of our preview ones. I mean, you said the 50-40-90 thing.
We got a 50-40-90 player this year.
We did. You said every team was going to average 80 points a game.
I don't think that happened. But what's the one that you said? What's the one that you thought I was going to get a lot of flack for? That I did get a lot of flack for. That has happened.
Oh, that Minnesota was not going to make it back to the finals.
Minnesota wasn't going to make it back to the finals. They don't call me the basketball Jedi. They call Martin Soros the basketball Jedi. But I just would like the record to reflect.
You got a little force in you. Yeah.
But the unfortunate part about this series is I'm an Aces fan. So like I'm picking the Aces to win. I want the Aces to win. But also like I have a take riding on this too. Like I don't really know. I know where my allegiances lie, but I don't really know how I'm going to feel after the fact until
it almost becomes a win-win for you. You're almost in a win-win situation here. I mean,
if I would have picked the Aces for the championship, by God, I'd look great right now. I'd look really good. But I mean, so you and I, we've talked a lot about the Phoenix Mercury. We've talked about who they have. Obviously, their big 3 is Kahleah Copper, who is on screen, Satou Sabally, and Alyssa Thomas. We've talked about their reserves, Sammy Whitcomb, DeWanna Bonner, coaching from Nate Tibbetts, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I guess the big question is right now, heading into yet another series where they are facing a former champion with a big 3, right? Obviously, they knocked off the defending champion, Liberty. They just got past the Lynx. Now they're into the Aces. Do you think Ka needs to go off in this series in order for the Mercury to win the championship this year? No,
I don't think she needs to go off. I think she needs to do what she's been doing. And that hasn't been going off, but it's been being Kahleah Copper. And she started out the playoffs not looking great to me, but she was still producing. I mean, she only has 1 game in the whole playoff scoring in single digits. She is competing. I just thought she wasn't looking all the way right at first, but she was still competing, still defending, still taking shots. So She's come around, and I mean, it's why I feel like she doesn't need to go off for them to win, because I think Phoenix is set up where no one really, not one player really goes off. And I talked about this with Alyssa Thomas recently, how in terms of like what's a bad game for her,
Sure.
because it's kind of, I hate to put it this way, but it's almost impossible for her to have a bad game. And yeah, we'll talk more about the AT and Asia matchup, because that's the heart of this series too.
For sure.
That's but yeah, I think Phoenix is set up where they have enough collective momentum and different people playing well, that have showed up in different moments, from Catherine Westbeld to Sammy Whitcomb to even Natasha Mack, very limited spot minutes because Phoenix has been playing small. She might play a little bit more in this Vegas series, but Kahleah Copper definitely has to play well. And I think the athleticism of Phoenix needs to be a factor against the guards of Vegas. And Kahleah Copper is a big part of that. But I don't think she needs to go off. I think Satou needs to go off. I think Satou is the big the big key here for Vegas, the big matchup problem for most people, of course, but in this matchup specifically, Satou, man, I don't think Vegas has a great matchup for her either. But Kahleah Copper is definitely going to have opportunities, because I think she can win matchups against Jewel Lloyd and or Chelsea Gray.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I don't think she needs to go off. I think she needs to play probably the best defense of her life. We just spent an entire segment talking about what makes Ajax unique and focusing on Jackie Young. Like, I do think that obviously like that plays a big part.
She's the ideal matchup for
is
Jackie Young.
Yeah, I think slowing down Jackie Young, you and I both agree, Jackie Young's the key to all of this, as far as just like seeing her level of play elevate. You just said she needs to have an 06 D-Wade run. Like, I think Kahleah Copper is going to have the tall task of the defense, and I think that's why she doesn't need to go. But the other reason too is like Alyssa Thomas is Alyssa Thomas. Like, she is the engine. I said to you and Dan, we were talking about which player is more important between Alyssa Thomas and Fee. I said Alyssa Thomas is the more important player because she is their offense, and she has continued to be their offense. But bro, Satou Sabally, I told you the other day in that closeout game, 3 or 4 straight possessions, Satou did a crossover into a step back three, like 3 or 4 times. She didn't make it all 3 times, but like, her confidence has greatly improved over the course of this playoff series. And I think it's going to continue in this series as well. Ka doesn't need to be like the offensive maestro that we've known her to be, or like what she doesn't need to be for Phoenix what she needed to be for Chicago 4 years ago when the Chicago Sky won their championship, right? She doesn't need to be that. She just needs to do her job. And right now, Kahleah Copper's job in this playoff run has been to guard the opposing team's best perimeter player, to play good defense, and to hit big shots when they need big shots. And she's checked all 3 of those boxes.
And again, being that athlete, off the ball and putting pressure on the defense as a cutter, right? As a slasher, as an offensive rebounder, like, she's a big part of their athletic advantage against most teams, including this team, I think.
But I think the other thing too is, and this goes back to a point that you made about the uniqueness of this team. You and I talked about how Becky Hammon made a point to mention that when they hold teams to under, 73 points, or like 13-1 or 12-2 or something into that effect this season, the Phoenix Mercury have won a lot of sloppy games over the course of this postseason. And I don't just mean sloppy by like physical, sloppy as terms like low scoring games. And the other reason why I don't think Ka needs to go off is because we've seen the Phoenix Mercury win low scoring basketball games when Kahleah Copper didn't shoot the ball well or wasn't scoring at a high clip. We know that they can do that. And so I think the goal, I don't want to say the goal is to keep it low scoring. The goal is to score more points in the team, no matter what that game looks like, obviously. But even if Ka doesn't go off, even if Ka's not going off for 20 a night or 25 a night or dropping in a 30 ball in there somewhere, we've seen against the defending champions from last year and the runner-ups and title favorites for most of this season, that they can win series that are low scoring, that are physical, that drag you out in that context. And so I think, again, as long as Alyssa Thomas is Alyssa Thomas, and as long as Satou Sabally doesn't have a game like how she had 2 games against Minnesota or against New York, where he missed 11 some shots from the field or something like that. As long as those two are fine, I think they'll be okay. It's the beauty and the reason why I was telling you and Dan why I think that their big three was better than Minnesota's big three, because of, like you mentioned, the athleticism, the versatility, and just the fact that you have Ka and Satou, who are both 3-level scorers. You have Alyssa Thomas, who is a great facilitator, the point forward. All of them can facilitate in some, like just the versatility of them collectively and the interchangeability. They only really need 2 of their players to go off on any given night for them to have a chance. And so far, it's been Alyssa Thomas and Satou Sabally. It's like I almost feel like if Ka is going off, to me, that would make me think that one of the 2 of them, and that's mainly Satou, probably isn't having a good game if I look up and Kahleah Copper's got 20 or 25 points in a game in this series, because they haven't needed her to do that so far to get to this point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think that is the key. I think that, Satou can be up and down too. She can be hot and cold. I do, again, I think that's how Phoenix is set up, where, this is really, and it's part of what makes Phoenix's big three special, is that all 3 of them are so competitive and like fiery. Like all of them want to compete, want to defend. Satou was getting into it with Bridget Carlton in that series. Kahleah Copper is getting into it with Courtney Williams. Alyssa Thomas is getting into it with Napheesa Collier. Like Phoenix, those three do not, those 3 in particular are individuals who do not back down from people and who invite challenge. So, and they're all 2-way players. So when we say they're not going off, you made the strongest point about Phoenix, is that if Ka's not going off, she's going to be doing other things that are positive, that are helping them win. And then even if she's not playing well, she may she's going to hit a couple shots late or make a couple of plays late, because she's not going to stop her energy and her right. She's going to be playing hard all the time. That's who she is. That's who Satou is. She's going to be battling. That's who Alyssa Thomas is. So that's part of why I don't think she necessarily needs to go off. That's how Phoenix is set up. That's part of what makes that big 3 special, is that they're going to compete really no matter what the circumstances. To your point, we've seen them down, we've seen them low scoring, a little bit more high scoring. They're pretty much built for anything.
They are, and that's what makes them interesting. So we are going to switch over now to our final topic of the night. But in order to do that, we have to go back to when Dan was last on the show, and you were talking about how tested the Aces would be heading into the finals.
Indiana is not going to stop competing. And so in that sense, I think they are about to get Vegas ready for, because I always think about that, Dan. I'm like, how is this matchup going to prepare? How does the road and the matchups prepare you for the next matchup, the next round? Are you being tested enough? Minnesota, Phoenix, whoever comes out of that is going to be, I mean, they might be a little beat up and a little battered, right?
But battle tested and ready to go.
Right. But they're going to be battle tested, bro. You know what I mean? They're going to come out of that. Who is next? Vegas, come on. Who's next? Like, we just got through with Alyssa Thomas, or we just got through with Napheesa Collier. Like, we're ready. So I think Indiana is ready to test Vegas enough for them to be like, okay, we need to really beat them. Like, we're not just better than them. We're going to have to actually beat them. Man, there has been so much happening, bro. Even like at the top of the show, I really wanted to reference that, like, bro, the Kelsey Mitchell thing, like that series, that Indiana Vegas series.
Can we just talk about
that thing turned into something way more dramatic than I think any of us realized. That thing was just drama. It was just so dramatic. The injury made it bad. Like, it was almost good drama because it was just like high level basketball. But that Kelsey Mitchell injury, man, that thing was crazy, bro.
I saw Kelsey Mitchell get hurt, and what I texted, I said, not like this, bro. Because I just thought, we were gonna just slam the door shut, waltz into the finals. Then we're in overtime because Odyssey Sims wants to come out here and just remind everybody that she is not new to this. She is true to this. Remind everybody that she was on that team that in LA that went to the finals in 2017. Like, she is a vet and she knows what to do. And I'm just, that game took this not the game. This series took
Yeah.
years off
Yeah.
of my life. Years. And shout out to Kelsey Mitchell for quite literally giving it everything she had, so much so she went until her body said it couldn't go anymore. And you have to give everyone in Indiana respect for how hard they fought to the very end. Bro, that series, didn't we all pick them to get swept? Didn't all three of us, when we did previews, you, me, and
No,
Dane, we
I
all
didn't.
get swept?
I didn't make an
don't.
official pick. I picked them to win, but I didn't say games. You said that
I thought they were going to get swept.
I think I might have said they could do it. I said they could,
Yeah.
but that wasn't like an official pick.
Bro.
But I was the one more so talking about how Indiana was going to be competing and battling, similar to what I said in that clip. Like the Fever fans were pleased with me in the comments because they were. I was vouching for them competitively.
That's a good point. Now here's the thing: as many takes and many predictions that I made this year that have come out to be right or almost right in the case of Phoenix, I do have to admit I did say before the playoffs that I didn't think that the Fever would win a playoff series this year, and they were a game away from the WNBA Finals. So that is some crow I will have to eat. But when we take a look at this matchup specifically,
it's the balance. It's the balance from all the takes all the good takes you had, all the stuff for you that
I had
that
to regress the mean a little bit.
Yeah, you got you can only get so high. You got to bring you back down to reality. The other thing, like, yeah, exactly. Sorry, yeah, but yeah, sorry to we're about to talk about a little bit of coaching here and more wrap up with talking about this series. But speaking of coach, Dallas fired their head coach. That happened in the last week.
Sandy Brondell is on the way.
Unrivaled is coming to Philly in January. That happened today. Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, for all again, this is the theme of this episode is balance, huh? Like, for all the WNBA is just burning down. Fee is just like burn it down. She's Fee. They got the Dr. King memes floating around for her. She's just out here shutting it down. But women's basketball as a whole, we got college coming up. There's a lot going on in women's basketball, people. If you're a women's basketball fan, this is the time to be tapped in. Trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. But focusing on the Mercury and the Aces, the coaching matchup between Nate Tibbetts, Becky Hammon. Nate Tibbetts has done great this year. We know who Becky Hammon is as a head coach. What's one thing you're looking for? What's one little detail from both coaches you're looking at as to what could potentially decide the series?
This series is defined by the Alyssa Thomas and A'ja Wilson matchup. That's the centerpiece of it. There are going to be other dimensions and other matchups that absolutely determine it. The guard matchup, as you know, I emphasize and care very much about, and I feel like that is absolutely key here. Even the reserve guards, Sammy Whitcomb, Dana Evans, who's going to outplay who, that's going to be a little matchup there. The Alyssa Thomas factor, I am fascinated to see Alyssa Thomas because we know what she does and what she's going to do eventually, which is put her head down, put her shoulder down, and look to play some bully ball. She does it on the inverted screen action a lot because she can get a small on her, and she does it a lot in transition. It's really her go-to move. And I look forward to seeing her apply that to A'ja Wilson and how she responds to that and how that's defended, on Jackie Young, on Chelsea Gray. Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray are stronger guards that I don't think, like, especially Chelsea Gray. I think what Becky might be looking to do is on those switches that Phoenix tries to get for Alyssa Thomas, try to get Chelsea Gray switched onto her as much as possible if they're switching off of A'ja, because A'ja is going to be the primary matchup, I would assume, for the most part. I do think someone else is going to have to step up with that matchup defensively and help A'ja out, whether it's Megan Gustafson, who's been stepping up mainly, I mean, on both ends, really, but I really like what she's done offensively the last couple of games against Indiana. But with her size and length, maybe she could help out as another body, but I think A'ja is going to need that assistance with AT at times. Like, I think A'ja can guard her straight up one-on-one, but she'll be at risk with fouls just the way AT plays. And, she probably will have to a good amount because you don't want to enable her as a passer. So Asia is going to really have to play a lot of smart defense, but she's the primary matchup, of course. Yeah, exactly. AT gets in your head. And that's a great point because I want to see how Asia responds to all of that. You know what I mean? Like that is the big test here for Asia, physically, skill wise, and psychologically, because that's exactly what Alyssa Thomas does and is able to do. And that is amplified by her big three running mates, like I talked about before, Satou and Kahleah Copper, because they're coming at you too with that energy.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it boils down to two things. It's two matchups. I don't think these are the keys, but I don't think these are the key matchups, but I do think that this is where we'll see a lot of emphasis from the coaches. I think number one, we talk about Satou. I think Nate Tibbetts is going to make it a point to attack Alyssa Smith with Satou Sabally. Like whenever Alyssa Smith is on the floor, they're going to do what they can to get her onto Satou Sabally. We've talked about Satou's confidence. We've talked about who Satou Sabally is as a scorer. Now, Alyssa is still as much as she has improved during her time in Vegas. Alyssa Smith, I think, is still very raw, especially defensively. And I think she has, and
she's not a good matchup for Satou. She would not be a good matchup for Satou.
We have seen in the last series with whether it was whether it was Aaliyah Boston or whether it was Natasha Howard, even in the series before with Seattle's bigs, NECA and Ezzy, and even a little bit that Dom played. Like if Alyssa Smith picks up one foul, kind of snowballs a bit.
Or I think Alyssa might be able to help Asia out with AT. I didn't bring her up, but I actually, now that I think about it, her style might actually weirdly work against AT defensively. Because again, you don't have to, like, you always have the choice of if you want to ball pressure her or just give her the space because she's a non-shooter. So, but if you're giving her space, like Alyssa, she's got the length, she's got the size, like another body. Like I wouldn't be surprised at seeing her get some cracks at it too.
For sure. I think for Satou, we might see Satou on the perimeter a lot more than we're accustomed to if Alyssa Smith
is on the perimeter a lot already.
She is on the perimeter a lot, but
that match. I mean, that matchup.
When Alyssa Smith is on the floor, she's going to be on the perimeter even more because Alyssa Smith's not a good perimeter defender, and it's going to open up driving lanes for Ka. They have
Phoenix. She cooked Bridget Tarleton.
Their ability to cut. Like to just move off the ball, and Alyssa Thomas and her ability to find cutters and find Satou, like that matchup is going to open up a lot of cutting lanes. I think a lot of driving lanes for Phoenix. So there's that. On the other side of the ball, you and I talk about Sammy Whitcomb. By the way, we just talk about. I know you and I talked about this on the phone the other day. Just the sheer number of champions in this series. You've got Asia Wilson's a champion, Jackie Young.
I brought it up earlier. They get
Finals
MVP
Evans
champions on both sides.
Like there's so many champions on both sides, but. I do think I'm also intrigued. I don't think this is going to be. I don't know if this will maybe be a focal point for Becky Hammon the way that Satou will be for Nate Tibbetts on Alyssa Smith. I'm interested to see what happens with Dana Evans and Sammy Whitcomb when they're on the floor together because they both bring an additional offensive punch, specifically like from three that both teams sometimes need in dire moments coming off the bench. But I'm really interested to see how both coaches handle them matching up on the floor together. Like when they're both on the floor, what does that look like on offense? What does that look like on defense? I don't think that's going to like swing. Like Dana Evans and Sammy Whitcomb aren't going to swing the series one way or the other. I'm not saying that. That is one that I look at and it's like those are the two players coming off the bench that I think have been probably the best this entire postseason of all the players who have come off the bench. Right, Sammy Whitcomb's certainly been Phoenix's best bench player, and Dana Evans has certainly been Vegas's best bench player all season, but especially in the postseason. I mean, she averaged, I think, 6 some odd points a game this year. She's up down to like around 7 or 8. Like she's just more productive. She's being better with passing, like defense, all those things. So that's just one thing I'm going to have my eye on is like which of those two will have a bigger impact, and how will their coaches use them respectively in their roles to impact their team in the game.
Yeah, Dana Evans has to try to win that matchup, I think. I do think that is going to carry some weight in possibly swinging this series. We saw what Sammy Whitcomb was able to do for Phoenix in the Minnesota series. So her effect on Phoenix is very strong. The way she plays off Alyssa Thomas is like Akoa Makani is good. She's solid, but Sammy Whitcomb, I mean, as a shooter, I brought it up before on the show, I think last time. Her trigger is one of the fastest in the league. Sammy Whitcomb just has a lightning quick trigger. And the way she's able to play off Alyssa Thomas as a shooter is literally magic. I put that on Threads during one of the games. Do you think playing against the physicality of a Boston already will help Asia with AT, or would it be a weakness because of how frustrated Asia was at times? I think Asia knows how to adjust and prepare for a different style. I tend to think that like going through that kind of physical series it just preps you for what's going to be another physical series. That's what I tend to think as a player. Like you feel tested, you feel battle tested. That goes back to the clip that we played before this segment. Like I felt like Indiana was going to test Vegas because they just play so freaking hard. And Aaliyah Boston was a big part of that for Asia individually, right? And of course she won out that matchup, and she had much better individual games because she's still much better than Aaliyah. But Aaliyah made herself, felt, and it was a physical series that Asia had to, she still had to get through that, and fight through that and play through that. Alyssa Thomas is a much different, challenge than Aaliyah Boston, right? Like that. I mean, again, it's physical, but it's a much different. Alyssa Thomas is coming for your chest downhill. Like she is. I mean, that's going to be very interesting to see how she challenges Asia in that way. Akoa Makani, I think she's solid. I think she can have an impact. I think Nate Tibbetts does a good job going from her to Sammy Whitcomb. I think he does a nice job balancing that. Plus, each of them are point guards, but Alyssa Thomas is kind of the real unofficial point guard and point forward. So each of them really has to play off the ball a lot. That favors Sammy Whitcomb because of her shooting ability. I think Akoa Makani, little better defender, probably a little quicker, little better athlete. I think she's younger. So I do think Akoa Makani is going to help against players like Jewel Lloyd, any of the Aces guards. Not to say she can guard them, but she helps Kahleah Copper defensively for those guards from an athletic standpoint. Their most athletic lineups, some of their most athletic lineups would probably be with Akoa Makani in there, as opposed to Sammy Whitcomb. And that's good. That's going to help them because, again, their athleticism, that's what sets them apart. And that can be an advantage against Vegas. Not just like Minnesota, but I think similar to Minnesota.
I know you don't like to do this often, but before we go, can we get
and don't let me forget, Marcus, I have something to say before we go. I have something to lastly to say on the Napheesa Collier thing before we finish, but you go ahead.
I know you don't like to do this, but can we get an official team in games from you for this series?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Who's winning? How many games? We do picks,
God!
And you always give me the answers. But give me. I want one. It's the finals. I want one.
I've been trying to think of who I'm just gonna pick to win.
Okay.
The first best of 7 finals. It's only right, I guess. I think it's going 7 games. And I hate to do the gut heart thing.
Okay.
But my heart is telling me Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
My gut is telling me Vegas because they have the best player in the world. And the way Jackie and Asia are playing, I do lean toward Vegas. I do think they're going to need Chelsea Gray to have a couple of games. Like, she's been good, and we've talked about how Jackie has played so well that Chelsea Gray hasn't had to be like super great. Like, she's been good to really good. Like, Chelsea Gray is still Chelsea Gray, right? But I don't think she's been great. I think she needs to have 1 or 2 great games, I think, in this series. This is going to be a battle. And I think she can give that to them. So I'm going to lead towards Vegas, man. I'm going with the best player in the world because I do think at the end of the day, and I'm off the Jonquel Jones is the biggest matchup advantage in the league. It's Asia Wilson. that role belongs, that title belongs to A'ja Wilson, flat out. She's gotten far too good at this point, bro. She just keeps doing things. It's like is it the Nike ad or something said like or no, someone said it. I think it was Rebecca Lobo who maybe said it on the broadcast, but she just, anytime you think of what she could do better or might be able to add, she does it. She gets better. Like she keeps doing things that show me like, wow, like, wow. This season, I've been big on her shooting. I'm just like, man, that shooting ability is just next level at this point as a big. Even off the dribble, like her drives, her stuff off the dribble too. Like, bro, Marcus, think about, those last possessions against Indiana in that last game the other night. Down the stretch, right? Sideline out of bounds. They are literally going to sets to get A'ja the ball at the 3-point line so she can rip it and drive to her left, right? 2-3 dribbles, right? I've talked about that a lot. Like her drive, it's 2 or 3 forceful dribbles to her, usually to her strong side left. And she gets to the rim more times than not. She gets all the way to the rim unless you just completely cut off her left hand, right? Tim Duncan, well, again, we're not going to be disrespectful or disregard what Timmy could do, because Timmy could do things off the dribble now, but from the 3-point line off the dribble, like the way she moves athletically, her quickness, her speed, like she's really a different kind of athlete, and it's translating into like her skill set becoming just crazier and crazier.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I have said it better. I texted you this the other day. This is very simple. Kahleah Copper, slobber knocker. I want a whopper. Aces and 5. Okay, that's from Satou Sabally, beef and broccoli. I'm an anomaly. Aces and 5. I don't know what else to say. Nate Tibbetts, frog goes ribbit. Something else that rhymes with ribbit. Lakers and 5. The Aces. Listen to me. Matter of fact, listen to me. You listen to me. You listen to me right now.
Okay? Wow.
The Las Vegas Aces are going to win this championship. They're going to do it. And when it happens, I will be back on this. You thought the GOAT mask was bad after a championship? You thought the GOAT mask was... If the Las Vegas Aces win this championship, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. But if you thought the GOAT mask was something,
I will be here for all of it, bro. I will entertain. I may even help fund whatever nonsense you're willing to.
If the Aces win this championship,